Welcome to Into the Uncharted podcast with myself, Junior, to discuss the United States general elections, which ended last week, with Trump officially being declared as the winner of these elections by the Associated Press, with 312 electoral college votes. Trump has been declared as the overwhelming winner of this election. Now, this is a very surprising turn of events because even though a lot of people were expecting this to be a very tight contest, it happened that Trump won overwhelmingly. I say he won overwhelmingly because this time around, unlike in 2016 when he won only the electoral college vote, he has been given a clear mandate this time around because Trump has won the popular vote and has also won the electoral college vote, and then swept all the seven states that were tipped to be the swing states in the United States in the 2024 general elections. He won all of them. He won Nevada, won Wisconsin, won Arizona, won Michigan, he won all the blue wall state, that is Michigan, Pennsylvania, and then Wisconsin, which it's been quite a very long time since a Republican candidate did that, because most often than not, these states, at least one of them will be won by the Democrats or they will win all of them. But this time around, Donald Trump won everything. He swept all the swing states, Georgia inclusive. And this time around too, Trump gained net positives in terms of various races. In the black community, he increased from 15% to about 25% of the votes. And then in terms of women and men, Trump got quite a considerable number of votes, considering that Kamala Harris was a lady and then she was also biracial. So a lot of people were expecting that other races were going to go for him overwhelmingly. And you consider some of the stances that Trump had in terms of migration, or in terms of the economy, in terms of abortion. I mean, Klan was tipped by a lot of Nobel laureates, including Darren Achimoglu and Robinson, and a lot of these folks tipping her economic plan to be much better than Trump's. But at the end of the day, the people of the United States of America have spoken. They've chosen the actual person they want to lead their country for the next 4 years. And then they've also shown that regardless of the talk about the economic plans and what the academics think, they themselves have a clear opinion. A lot of them, if you speak to them, they will tell you that they've lived through the life under Trump, that is between 2016 to 2020. They saw how he handled the economy and believe that he's a better manager of the economy than what Biden and Harris has done, and then also the plan that Harris was proposing. Now, then again, some of the Democrats will also tell you that Trump actually inherited the economy of Barack Obama. So whatever improvement that people realized in their living was actually because of what Obama did and not what Trump did, because they usually cite the long-term effects of economic policies on countries. That, okay, if a government implements certain policies, right, it will not materialize within the first years or maybe the first 8 years or something like that. But at the end of the day, the people have spoken and then they said they are going for Trump. Now, Trump's win signifies a lot of changes from what the Biden and Harris administration has been doing, because I mean, the Republicans, aside from the fact that they all lean differently in terms of the political spectrum, Trump as a person or as a character has, different when it comes to certain things, especially with the fact that he's nationalist. That is, he prioritizes the United States of America ahead of every other thing, right? And that is what Donald Trump stands for, and he does so unapologetically, and there were a lot of, broad headlines, central theme in this election, the major dominating topics in this election, which was going to inform a lot of people about who to vote for and who they were going to vote for, or who they were going to choose as the next president of the United States. Now, looking at some of the exit polls that were conducted by the CNN and then also by Fox News and all these major organizations, you would realize that issues like abortion, the economy, LGBTQ, education, immigration, and climate change were some of the major reasons why people were going to, elect either Harris or Trump. At the end of the day, Trump has won. So we are not going to go by, looking at the Paris had in terms of these broad themes that were dominating the conversation prior to the elections. But we are going to look at what to expect from the United States currently under the leadership of Donald Trump in the next 4 years? What should be the actual expectation from them? Are they going to still have a dominating role in the international space? Of course, the United States is always going to have that kind of dominance, right? But if you look at Trump's view of, say, NATO, where he says this is an obsolete organization, it makes you realize that, okay, Trump is someone that has also been described as he's been described as a protectionist and also a non-interventionist. That's, he doesn't see the need to intervene in, the quarrels of other countries, because he believes that America needs to sort itself out first before other things can be considered, right? Now, in terms of abortion, the expectation here is Donald Trump, previously, if you follow the Wade and the judges that sat on the case, Trump actually appointed three judges on this particular case. And after he took, full ownership of the fact was actually the sole reason behind the overturning of the Roe v. Wade. Now, he did this because, if you look at the Republicans or the GOP party, now they are made up of conservatives, and with conservatives, they have conservative beliefs in that we believe in the old ways of doing things, right? And so a lot of them frowns on abortion. Now, Trump coming out in support of the abortion ban was a clear significant move that, okay, I am appealing to my voter base, and his voter base are the Republicans, right? So he wanted to signify to them that, yes, I stand with you, I believe in your ideas, I believe in your ideologies, I share that with you. But in 2020, we saw how the election turned out, and that is how Biden and then Harris won. Now, again, the issue here is Donald Trump has reversed course a little bit. He doesn't say that he supports abortion. He's not going to overturn the ruling in the ruling of Roe v. But this time around, he says that he's rather going to support what the state decides to do. Now, this is a very funny situation because most of the states that actually decided to vote for Trump, especially actual red states, they also turned around and voted for acts and then bills that will actually also allow for abortion, and in some cases to also ban abortion, right? In Florida, for instance, there is still the 6-week ban. That is after you've passed the 6-week term, your pregnancy, you cannot abort a baby, right? So aside from these states, other states also decided to vote on bills to either accept or reject an abortion ban, and a lot of them also opted for abortion, for there not to be an abortion ban altogether. So even though they were voting, and another funny thing was also in the swing states, a lot of these states decided to vote for Trump, but in terms of the Senate and then also the Congress, they voted overwhelmingly for the Democrat. But make no mistake, currently, Donald Trump, unlike his first term in presidency, he's going to have both houses, that is the Senate and the Congress. He's going to have majority over there because in his previous mandate, he wasn't having majority in Congress. So some would say that was stifling some of his plans that he had. And currently, not all the Republicans actually agree with some of that he has, but we will live to see some of the getbacks that he'll be getting from some of his own people, because this time around he has majority, and at the end of the day, if any bill does not pass, then it means that there are some defectors in his within his. This is going to be an interesting time in terms of how it's going to turn out. And I, for one, who is very much in politics, I'm very much happy about how things are going to turn out, because it's going to be an epic situation, and I know we are all going to love it. America, whatever America does, it impacts the whole wide world. Whether they withdraw from the international space or they increase their presence in the international space, at the end of the day, all other countries are going to face it. All other, sovereign territories are still going to, because they are like the greatest empire that has ever lived. One would probably argue that the Roman Empire is the greatest, or the Greek Empire, or whatever. It depends on where your leanings are. But personally, I do believe that the United States is the greatest empire that has ever lived, and we are still living in their world. Now, again, aside from this abortion topic, which a lot of people have their own views and opinions on, another one is the economy. Now, in terms of the economy, Trump has, arguably presided over the very relatively better economy than the Biden-Harris administration, where currently under Biden, inflation was almost 9% at some point. It's currently now that it's around 2.1%. Now, before we go into the economy in detail, or we look at what some of the things that we should be expecting from Donald Trump and how he's going to handle some of these things, what we can say is that now the United States of America believes in the market economy, that is, the free markets. Now, after Trump's election, one thing that it is undeniable is that the market has reacted very positively to his election. In terms of looking at the stock market has been very, 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 very strong, increasing. You look at the NYSE, they've been, moving crazy. It's been really solid because I actually love him, right? Because they've seen what he did in the past, and then now investor confidence is back in the market, so share prices are going up. It's only a few companies and those few companies that are going down, you would realize that they've had some kind of relationship with Donald Trump in the past, not a positive relationship. So those that have had or those that are not going to benefit from some of the policies that he's looking to implement, you would realize that they are going down, like the Boeing company, for instance. Because if you look at some of the aviation policies of Donald Trump, it's going to affect the Boeing company. So last week, as I closing of the stocks market, you realize that the company was trending downwards. This week is still relatively down, but much better than last week. So at the end of the day, what we can say is overwhelmingly, the market has reacted very positively to the election of Donald Trump. So that is, it's part of the economy. Why I brought it in here. But in terms of the economy, Trump has also signaled that he's going to renegotiate and also improve upon the Korean United States agreement, and then he's also going to impose tariffs on countries. And this is where it gets very dicey, because if the implementation of tariffs with the current constitution of the United States manufacturing capacity, you would probably realize that imposition of tariffs on other countries may not be so much of a great idea. But this is what Trump is also saying. He knows that if he imposes the tariffs on, say, China, for instance, where a lot of the United States offshore manufacturing capacity have been sent to, you would realize that what it means is that when goods come back into the United States, consumers are going to be made to pay for the extra tariffs that are coming in, because this is it. This is how simple tariffs work. If goods are being bought for $20, right, and they are currently selling them for $40, now if tariffs are imposed such that now goods are no more being bought at 20, but it will be bought at say 30, now manufacturers are not willing to lose their money. So what they're eventually going to do is to shift the blame on the consumer. So in as much as people are complaining that grocery bills were cheaper under Donald Trump, it was cheaper, and it may not be so. Tariffs are if tariffs are imposed on these other, signal the way around it, and that is to develop the United States will get back its manufacturing capacity. That is, all offshore manufacturing power plants will be manufacturing plants will be brought back to the United States. This is something that Trump will do, because the reason why some of these offshoring was done, aside from access to cheap labor and all other factors, it was issue of pain, right? Where they didn't want to produce more of their material footprints in the country, but rather offshore process to China, so that the material footprints will rather be, in Asia instead. But Trump himself has also declared himself as someone who believes in the climate change issue, where he has described that as a hoax. And this is someone that during the COVID, in the beginning, he doubted the existence of COVID, the true nature of it, and said it was just a common cold or common flu or something like that. So it should not be given that much of a credibility and credence to. But at the end of the day, the United States ended up having to go on a lockdown. So, and a lot of people were actually how he handled this particular, and was all part of the reason why he was voted out. So we will live to see how he's going to achieve the improvement of the manufacturing capacity of the United States again, and how that is going to the economy of the United States. Whether indeed tariffs are going to be able to help the United States to reduce taxes, and then at the end of the day increase real income for the average person, and if that is going to have some impact on it's going to have impact on prices of goods and services, and also in terms of gases. Now, the reason why Trump, when he's in power, gas, price of gas is low, has a lot to do with the fact that he prioritizes fossil fuel, and he is no more into the renewable energy, and also probably we don't know currently we know his stance on using nuclear energy to be the major source of energy. But one interesting dynamic in this particular situation is the presence of Elon Musk, who is into electric vehicles production, and also we do know that the major benefit that Elon Musk may likely get from Trump's presidency is his commitment to space travel and space exploration, where a lot of people are actually tipping the United States to also make another landing on the moon, and then significantly make some achievement in terms of resettling humans on Mars. So we know that this is where Elon Musk is going to have some significant impact. But one thing also is his belief in electric vehicles, or his alternative sources of energy to power vehicles and all that. Because remember, he does not believe in climate change, and he believes this is a hoax. And if you are thinking about it, the sole reason why a lot of people are advocating for electric vehicle is to reduce the global footprint, and also bring us to achieving the net zero climate goal that the world has made for itself at 2050, that we should achieve that by 2050 if we are not going to ourselves to death. But remember, Trump has also mentioned that he is going to withdraw the United States once again from this climate agreement, right? So I do not currently see how he's going to align this with some of his major donors. Elon Musk is his second largest donor for this particular elections, and then he is also the second individual donor this particular election. So I'm currently looking at how he's going to align some of the ideologies that his major donors are having, and he himself. But we all know Trump is a stubborn man. He may, at the end of the day, override everybody and do whatever he wants to do, because these are some of the, I wouldn't like to say criticisms, but these are some of the things that he has been described. Someone who rarely listens to advice when he's in office, because a lot of people have written documentations on some of his actions during his first time in presidency. So we'll see how this time around is also going to go. Now, in terms of education, Trump has said that he's going to support a lot of changes within the education sector, and one of the Department of Education. Now, Trump believes that this is one part of the United States government that is sucking a lot of money from the United States, but does not actually do anything that is meritorious of this amount of money that they are spending. So he's sat with a lot of his major donors and also his major advisors like Vivek, Elon Musk, RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, and a lot of these folks. And then they've consistently been, J.D. Vance has mentioned it a couple of times about defunding the Department of Education, because they know that, all together may not necessarily be allowed in the House, because even though they have Congress and have, some of them will actually defect in terms of this particular situation, because now the Department of Education, it says, recognizes the multiracial nature of the United States, and also advocates for DEI, equal access, and then for everyone, equity and equality in education. So most people are unwilling to go against this, because once you do that, a very social topic where a lot of people don't want to actually mess with social stuff. Now, other things that I also be mentioned is the cancellation of the Social Security, the Medicaid, and then the Medicare, and all some of these social policies. They do believe that it is also tied to because of these. These policies are characteristic of a welfare state. And then when you build a state, or it kind of gives some of these social safety nets, it attracts a lot of immigrants to come into your country. Even if they are documented, what it means is that a lot of these folks know that when they come in here, they can get access to these social safety. To put that aside, the LGBTQIA community is also not expecting much from Donald Trump, because during his leadership, Trump was really not so lenient on them. And now Trump is also saying that he's going to ban, people changing their sex, younger kids. At least you need to be of age to be able. I do believe that. I support this ideology. Yeah, I do believe that is how things are supposed to be, because I mean, how usually if we are not allowing people to get married before the age of 18 years, or we're not allowing people to work before 18, or we are not allowing people to vote until they are 18 years, why do we think that we should allow people to change their sex before they are 18, or they are of legal major age, whatever age that is for each particular country? Because we do consider that so a child is someone is 18 years old, they cannot give consent, to sexual relations and all that. And that is very much what is expected, because we know that by 18 years has fully developed to be able to give consent to certain issues, to be able to sign a contract. In some areas, it is actually 21. You have to be 21 years to be able to sign a contract. And in the United States, you need to be 21 before you can buy alcohol. So if you need to be of a certain age to be able to do some of these things, which are actually very wise decisions in terms of the age, and then because if you look at science and you look at some of the studies that has been done, you realize that at any age below some of these ages that I mentioned, that person has not fully developed, his or her mental capacity has not been fully developed, right? So I do not know why it should be allowed for such a person someone who does not have a fully developed, mental capacity should be allowed to decide to change his or her. If at the end of the day, yes, after he or she is 18 years, he or she realizes that, okay, I actually never wanted to be another sex altogether. I actually felt like I was a man, or I was truly a man and he was born as a man, but now he's been made to change into a woman because of something that he saw on television, and then could maybe envision themselves in that situation, right? So giving them time, sexuality, and then eventually decide to transition or not, I do believe that is the best way forward. But a lot of people are currently unhappy with that decision, saying a whole lot of, they are making their displeasure known, saying a lot of, their reservations with regards to some of them. Already in his first term, he clearly showed that he was going to be against some of these things. And again, this also is what they've also been advocating for, like Elon Musk specifically, because his child is one of those people currently transitioning, and he says he does not even recognize that his son is still alive, because now he is a she now, and then she wants to be identified as a she, but Elon Musk does also not his child currently. I mean, the whole situation is quite confusing, but at the end of the day, that's what it was like being. Factor is my only issue. I do not have a problem with you transitioning at any point in your life, but I do feel if you are of legal major age and then you decide to do that, then my full support to you, because you clearly know what you're doing. And then just as we allow people to get their alcohol, get their sexual relations, and also get their contract signed, and also get job to do, they can be allowed to do whatever they want when they get to that particular age. But until then, I do have reservations with regards to that. And so in terms of education too, Donald Trump has already noted that he's going to support he's going to be a pro-choice. He's going to allow people to have a lot of choices that they want to go to. And that is why he even wants to defund the Department of Education. And then he will also increase the construction of more charter schools, or the setting up of more charter schools, which also, if you look at some of the research that has been done, charter schools have been some of the most successful institutions in the United States, which is actually a good thing. And I'm actually looking forward to some of the improvement that these decisions are going to be brought. Some of these decisions, how it's going to impact, the next generation of people academically. Because that is certain, though, is that academic progression in the United States has been reducing. And Trump's first presidency, he did not really pay much attention to higher education. But this time around, looking at where some of his policies are leaning, he's going to pay critical attention to higher education. And some of his policies are also going to favor for-profit organizations or for-profit schools, which a lot of these institutions are also currently embracing, because it's going to help them. And then someone will also say that for profits, because of the fact that if they are able to perform, people then they get more people in, and then they can be able to get profits or make their business, viable. they tend to identify ways and means to ensure that their students are coming out or progressing, effectively, and at the end they also get, a lot of enrollment and money, right? Now, and then before, which is immigration, which has a lot of global discourse. Now, in terms of immigration, Trump highlighted the first key executive instrument that he's going to sign into effect once he's been sworn in as the president. Now, effectively, under Trump's leadership, he's going to go by the parental heritage of the Italians, Spain, and other European countries, where he's going to effectively cancel birthright citizenship in the United States. That is, now you cannot travel from, say, Ghana or Nigeria to the United States and come and give birth, then your child will automatically be a citizen. Now, and then at the end of the day, at some point in your life, you can claim anchor citizen. That is where you can claim citizenship through your child. So he's going to cancel that. If you come and give birth in the United States, you are not going to have your son, or your child or your daughter being a United States citizen anymore.